How women justify being immoral. Well, this is a tough subject, and it's kind of at the core of really a lot of red pill issues and really a lot of our problems, man, in today's society, really. You know, we talk about the Jezebel spirit a lot in the red pill, and I think that the Jezebel spirit is really at the core of this. And I do believe it's a spirit. Like, I do believe that it's supernatural. I believe that it's metaphysical. It's both metaphysical, it's both supernatural, and it's cultural. Because we live in a culture where feminism has saturated and permeated our modern thinking. And because of that, you know, it's easy for women to justify sleeping around. And really, if you get to the core of a lot of feminist ideology, what it really is Satanism. Do as thou wilt, right? Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Well, that's really against God, because God doesn't, God says, take my cross and follow me, or excuse me, take up your cross and follow me, right? So what is your cross? The cross is something that X's out the soul life. So what is do as thou wilt? What does that promote? That promotes the soul life. That promotes do whatever makes you happy. It says nothing of don't sin. I mean, the Bible's all about not sinning, right? Jesus said, go and sin no more. Sinning is negative. Sinning it keeps us away from God. It keeps us, separated from God's life, because God can't really tolerate sin. It's a problem. On the one hand. On the other hand, we're all sinners. So it's this kind of paradox where, well, we are sinners, right? But once redeemed, we come back to God and try not to sin anymore. That is, on the spiritual side. But in the world, what we see is the result of a lot of sin, right? Divorce is at 50%. There's a lot of sin that's involved with that. Kids coming out of wedlock, kids, single parents, kids being born to these loose, promiscuous mothers and these loose, promiscuous fathers as well, right? That's the result of sin. STDs, right? All these things are consequences. So sin is a problem, not just theoretically, hypothetically, in the spiritual realm, that's just something that Christians worry about. No, sin is a problem for everybody, and people need to realize that. People don't understand that. They think, well, the world's just messed up, or they have most people have some kind of philosophy for why the world's messed up, right? And they don't just look at it for the bare bones of what it really is. Well, we have a problem with sin, right? Fornication is sin. So there's consequences for that. And again, feminism removes that accountability, it removes that honesty. The devil is very subtle, and he tries to work in subtleties. He tries to cover up the truth by degrees. And a lot of what feminism has done to these women out here, to these young women, is cover up the truth. When you say the patriarchy is bad, when you say masculinity is inherently toxic, right? What does that do? If men have built the world and men have wrote the Bible and God is a male, think about it. What does that do for a woman? It tells her that all men are bad. So therefore, I don't have to believe or trust anything these men say. This is at the core. This is for real. This is at the core of how these women feel. These feminists, and I'm not just talking about Your everyday average feminist, I'm talking about all of them. Celebrities, scholars, you know, women in positions of power, economically, women who run businesses. These women are influential. And if they hate men, what do you think they're influencing other women to do? Hate men. And this is the problem with feminism, and it's just not addressed. Nobody talks about it. It's insidious. It is dangerous. And it's influencing our young women. And this is why I say, and I know that I'll give a shout out real quick to Anthony Dream Johnson of 21 Convention, 21 Studios. He says this as well, but not many other people say it. Not even guys in the red pill community. Feminism is the number one problem in America, in my opinion. It's the number one problem, at least in interpersonal dynamics. It's not racism. It's not bigotry. It's not politics. It's feminism. Because feminism fundamentally divides men and women. It fundamentally teaches women to distrust men, to essentially and eventually hate men. Because when you say masculinity is toxic and you link that to this concept of a rape culture, I mean, that's, and then call men oppressive, you talk about the patriarchy. I mean, that's war. That's war propaganda, right? And it's not a physical war. It's not a military war. It's a psychological war. You're creating a psychological warfare between the sexes. And what's the result of that? Again, divorce, kids out of wedlock, right? Because women still want men and men still want women. Yet when you tell one of the genders that the other gender is bad, well, what's that going to do? That's going to hurt the gender that you tell them that to. So if you tell women that men are bad, what's that going to do? That's going to hurt women. Why is it hurting women? First of all, it's not true. It's not the truth. It's a lie that's masquerading as the truth, first of all. But why is that going to hurt women? Because women love men. Women want men. Women need men. And men love women. Men want women. And men need women. We need reciprocity. We need mutual love. We need mutual help. We need mutual understanding, mutual building up. That is part of what makes families. That is part of what makes a community. That is part of what makes a culture, part of what makes a country. If you fundamentally dismantle that, what are you doing? You are tearing down essentially a whole country from the bottom up, because you are essentially damaging interpersonal relationships. Essentially on a micro level, and it blossoms out to a macro level. If that's not insidious, if that's not evil, if that's not Satan, then I don't know what is. I don't know what the devil is if that's not it. Division, divisiveness is at the core of much of what Satan has done throughout history. Mainly seen in the church. But to divide humans, to create divisiveness between them, pit them against one another, right? And then what happens? Then at some point they got to unify under some kind of, this is what we see in communism, this is what we see in fascism. They get unified under some kind of totalitarian state. They get unified under some kind of dictatorial state, which usually is violent, and it reaches its means through aggression. It's not peace. It's not unity through peace. They talk about peace. They preach peace, but in reality, what do, right? So this is how, it's essentially divide and conquer. If you go look at the occult and Freemasonry and how it works, order through chaos, right? Order through chaos is the Freemasonry slogan. Communism, feminism, these are things that have insidiously crept into American culture, and I believe it's on purpose. I don't think it's a mistake that these communists and these radical feminist teachers and professors are stationed, I use that word, precisely, stationed at universities. I think they're stationed at universities on purpose. Why? Because they're teaching their insidious propaganda to young, fertile minds. Most women don't become feminists until they hit 18, 19. Because that's when they go to college. That's when the indoctrination begins, you see. And what better time to warp a young mind than when their minds are the most open and fertile and ready to receive that kind of information. We need protection from that. We need protection from that leftist, communist, radical feminist, ideological propaganda that is constantly at these universities. Not to mention that the alphabet crew, we know who that is. I don't want to mention it, but anyway, that whole level of degeneracy, and they try to gaslight us and say, oh, you're not accepting of us. Well, why would you be accepting of degeneracy? Why would you be accepting of immorality? I mean, hey, if that's how you are, if that's how you were by birth, and that's how you are, I'm not trying to oppress you. I don't want to push you away or anything. I don't want to marginalize you per se. I just don't want you teaching that to my kids. I don't want you trying to normalize that into our culture. Right? It's not that I'm oppressing you, or I'm phobic against you, or I want to see you, be shooed away or whatever. It's just, you can do what you want behind closed doors. Just don't teach that to my kids. Don't try to come out into our communities and spread that message. Particularly as if it's a choice. If that's how you were by birth, okay, I don't know. Maybe it's a birth defect. Maybe it just is what it is. I don't want to get into it. That's your deal. But don't act like it's a choice and, you can just experiment, because that's how the devil works. But anyway, and that's another problem with it, with radical feminism. Again, it's, if you don't need men, then you can do what you want. If you don't, if men are toxic and liars by nature, then it excuses all your bad behavior, right? I can go out here and do whatever I want. I can be promiscuous, I can be loose, I can be, I can experiment and do all this stuff, and it's no problem, right? But this is how they excuse the immorality. This is how they, justify themselves, justify what they're doing. Men are evil, men are toxic, right? So I can do whatever I want. I'm the boss of my own self. And really it's sin, but also it's not having a concept of righteousness, not having a foundational concept of the difference between right and wrong. And you could argue that this is only found in the Bible. You could argue that. I mean, so many of these liberals and these atheists and people like that act like they don't need God, right? They act like they have morals without God. But in reality, when you really pay attention to how they act and how they behave, they're some of the most immoral people on the planet. But yeah, this is how women justify doing what they do, is, blame shifting, saying men do it too, right? When in reality, a lot of times if a guy has a good woman, if he finds a good woman who is moral and who hasn't slept around and who is not used goods and it's not time for her to settle down, like, this is the problem. We know the template. We know the blueprint, right? We know how they roll. Okay, 18, 19, 20, they get indoctrinated with feminism. They start to, they realize they don't need no man, all this, I'm strong, independent woman and all this crap, right? Until they hit 28, 29, they get pregnant, have a kid. Now all of a sudden they have a necessity. Now all of a sudden they need a man, right? Or they hit the wall. They get old and they're like, oh man, I want to have a kid. My eggs are dropping. I don't have any more, my eggs are going. I heard at 30, I've read, I haven't confirmed this, but I've read that by 30 years old, 80 or 90% of a woman's eggs have dropped. Now I know a lot of women, my mom particularly had me when she was 38. I know a lot of women, or I think 39 actually, a lot of women have kids when they're older. It can happen, but I think biologically women have an imperative. Biologically, I believe that's true. And also they want to settle down. They don't want to be alone, particularly if they have kids. It's time to find somebody, right? So we know the template, right? 18, 19, it's fun times. Go sleep around as much as you want until what? 25, 26, 27, 28. And how many abortions? 500,000 per year on average in America. They're just having abortions. They're getting pregnant, having abortions. Or they're, using the pill, which I have no problem with contraceptives or the pill. I have no problem with that. I'm fine with that. But bottom line, I mean, you're still being immoral, right? You're still giving away your emotions, giving away your love for somebody who's not who you're supposed to be with. But see, that's the thing, is that they always try to blame shift and act like, oh, I'm doing what I want because men are doing it too. No, not all men are doing it. It's not the same. It's not the same between men and women. Men do not have the same access to relationships and sex that women do. And women themselves are not honest, and they don't admit that they themselves choose the highest quality guys for hooking up, or the most Chad, and they rationalize it like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I choose the hottest guy? And on face value that kind of makes sense, but that's the thing, is that you're choosing the hottest guy, so that means that the average guy, he doesn't have access to sex like you do. He's being denied. So what that means is that the hottest guy, Chad 10 out of 10, right? He's getting all the women. Okay. So the average guy doesn't, so that throws out that whole logic of, well, men do it too, because no, men don't do it too. Only the 10 out of 10 Chads do it too. See, that's where women get it twisted. So this is how they justify, and like I said, we know the blueprint. If the thing is that if women were really out to love men when it first started, like 18, 19, and they would just choose a decent guy and get married, period, there'd be no problem. And because women are the gatekeepers of sex, right? They have, the responsibility lies on them. So they can't blame shift. They can't say, oh, well, men do it too, because no, you're the ones who are opening your legs, and you're only opening your legs for the highest quality men, you see. So by the time we get to you, you're already used goods. By the time you're ready to settle down at 30 years old, and your currency, which is your fertility, your looks, and your youth is all used up, now you want to settle down with the guy, right? But yeah, you've already been sleeping around, right? So we see the red flags. We don't want to date you. We don't want to settle down with you because you're not moral. You're cheaters. You're liars. You've slept around. We don't want that. A quality guy doesn't want that. Guys who, are beta, are weak, don't have a lot of options, they'll settle for you. They put you on a pedestal. But guys who really have morals, guys who have a backbone, guys who have integrity are going to say, no, I don't want that woman because she's used up. My question is now do we have a choice? They're all used up. They've all slept around. And it's sad. It's sad for the young guys because, for me for me now in my 30s, it's like, well, I've already been through it, for decades or whatever, right? So I feel sad for the young guys. Now they got the decades to go. It's like, if you can, man, find one and settle down. And hopefully she doesn't change up on you, and hopefully it's real love. But I think that's one of the hardest things in life, is to find the right partner who really loves you. It's like finding a diamond in the rough, man. But anyway, it's something that vexes me. It's something that is, hard to think about, hard to deal with. And there's really not a lot of answers for it, because we live in a sordid world, man. We live in a broken world, and you would think, I mean, why do we have to rescue women? We have to rescue them at this point. We have to play cleanup crew, and that's not fair, and it's not right. But this is what happens when women say, oh, I'm independent and I can do what I want, and feminism lied to them. And many of them still don't even realize it. They don't even realize this blueprint. Well, the red pill guys have figured it out, and you could learn, and they could learn from it, but instead of learning and maybe teaching the next generation better, they still, double down and stand on their quote unquote rights to be loose and promiscuous, and to follow that unhealthy and unholy blueprint, and so it leaves us with little options. What are our options? Oh, well, we got to settle for used goods, settle for this woman who's got all this baggage, she's got all these problems. And it's like, can you really even trust a woman who has baggage? Can you trust a woman who's been sleeping around? Can you trust a woman? It's like, you can't. So it's like we're screwed, and it's the children who suffer, relationships suffer, and yes, men suffer. And they don't care. They don't care about us that way. They just care about themselves. So they end up settling for a beta guy, white knight, simpy guy. And then they just tell themselves some kind of mental, confirmation that, oh, what I'm doing is right. What I'm doing is my choice. And he's a good guy because he's got money and a mortgage and blah, blah, blah. But he might be a good guy, but he might not be the right guy that you should have been with, who would have shared your same chemistry, you guys would have had a real solid love bond. Now what the bond is over, because it's very difficult to pair bond after you've slept around a ton. Now what the bond is over is, hey, we have this thing in common where, we live together, and we are raising this kid or whatever, and that's what you have in common. It's not the love bond, it's not the chemistry, it's the money, or it's the lifestyle, or it's just this thing, And this is why divorce happens, or you just live in a very dry marriage. You just live in a very, loveless marriage, or passionless marriage. Maybe love is there. Maybe you love your partner, but there's just not a lot of passion. It's not a very deep love. It's kind of this conditional love. And it's like, this is what I talk about in my videos. But anyway, yeah, this is a problem, man. This is a real big problem. It's at the core of a lot of our issues. If women want to know what men want, it's that. We don't want used goods. We don't want a woman who's slept around a bunch. We don't want a woman who's deceptive and manipulative and a liar and a cheater. And these women out here are forcing us to settle for that, because this is how they all are. It's a whole entire culture that is, like I said, influenced by feminism and influenced by really the devil. But people don't have a core understanding of what evil is, because they don't have a core understanding of righteousness. They don't have a core understanding between the difference between right and wrong. They haven't read the Bible. They're not in tune with morality, which is a lot of what God is all about. He's also love, light, peace, happy, all these good things, but he's also very righteous. Righteousness is at the core of what God is. So because they don't have that foundation, they don't really even know that their own behavior is bad. And then that's a scary thing. But anyway, I mean, this world's messed up, and people need redemption. People need help. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end it there. Appreciate you guys listening. Jay Lee Northwest Podcast. Peace.